What's up? What's up? Hello, everyone, and
Hi
welcome
guys.
to Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Knowledge. Hey, we're back. Knowledge is Power Podcast live uh, with your host Tony Renfro and my crew member Terry Roy and Trisha Kim Primo. Did I say that right? Yeah. Okay.
Kern
All right.
Primo.
Karen Primo. I got all those last names. But anyway, tonight we've got a great guest tonight, and I like to bring her on here. And this is the topic of the show. And let's get to the topic of the show: silence the stigma around mental health with Coach MT, and how to talk to children about mental health issues. That's going to be our guest tonight. So I will bring us back with our guest tonight, Coach MT, as soon as we break for 30 seconds intro. Welcome to Knowledge is Power Podcast Live with your host, Tony Redford, and my co-hosts, LaDonna Sherwood and Francis Lawkins.
Knowledge is Power Podcast Live starts now.
Hello, Coach MT.
Hello.
Can you hear us? Yes. Hey, yeah, I'm gonna try
Yes.
this. I'm gonna try this because I'm gonna get them something to laugh about. I'm gonna pronounce your real
Oh,
name,
goodness.
okay?
Okay.
Mignon Thomas. Mignon Thomas. Mignon Thomas.
Close,
Good.
Mignon.
Mignon. We're gonna stick with the MT. Terry, what I was
That's
gonna
fine.
call her? What is her name? You're mute. Let's see here. Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay,
Gonna
now
be filet mignon.
okay, yeah, that's right. All right. Well, I am so glad to have you here because we had a talk show on Sunday about Beaumont Independent School District, and we talked about the some of the issues that's going on there with the chief of police for the Beaumont Independent School District, and this subject came up, mental health.
Mhm.
And it was just ironic that you was next up on our calendar and scheduled to be on our show 2 days later. So it's going to help us all out talking about mental health issues. We all suffer. Some of us will. I will say, excuse me. I'm sorry. Majority of us suffer with mental illness and don't even know we have mental illness. So tonight our topic is silencing the stigma around mental health with Coach MT. Okay, Coach, it's you.
Okay, yes. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. So, I make it my point to go out and be a mental health advocate. And yes, right now the area of concern is mainly primarily on our children. As you know, yes, we've done a great job at silencing the stigma around mental health, but silencing that stigma comes with some action. And so, I talk about things that we can actually do to help silence this stigma because awareness is one thing. Okay, everybody knows it's an issue by now, but the stigma is still heavy. It is still there. One of the things I shared was that somebody even close to you, it could be a friend, family member, coworker, but if they suggest that you're mildly depressed, we're going to be offended by that. So that's the whole stigma, that negative connotation around mental health. So then when we think about our children, like they are unfortunately put right dab in the middle of COVID. And then now they're hearing whispers of possible wars going on. And we're seeing that some of the behaviors that they're doing are directly affect related to mental issues. And a lot of these issues are normal. They just need to be guided through it. And that's part of the mental health piece that I try to zone in on: mental wellness, mental health. And if we can prevent them from developing some of these things like generalized anxiety disorder or depression, we really could prevent that. Like I shared openly and candidly that I struggle with major depression and generalized anxiety disorder every single day. But to my understanding from what my doctor told me is that if we I would have got treatment early on, and I can remember my first anxiety attack being around 13 years old. And if I would have got treatment early on and learned how to do it, cope with this anxiety and get the treatment, that it would not have developed into the major depression I deal with today. That's what fuels me to do this.
I'm glad to hear that because I too suffer with mental illness, and well, you would never know because of the therapy I get, and every day
Mm-hmm.
I take care of myself and with medication, you know. And I'm not ashamed to talk about it. If anybody, you know, I can recognize another person that has it and don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
I can, you know, if they was open enough to talk to me about it, I would tell them some things that I know they are doing, because it all is a pattern of what we do and what we do when we're going through this. If we don't know, if you don't know, then you won't know. And it's a lot of us, especially in the African American families, we think that if it's a shame to be like that, or it's embarrassing to be like that, which
Right.
is not. I mean, I'm not embarrassed at all. You know, I suffered for 10 years and didn't and fighting it and didn't know what it was, and until
Mm-hmm.
I found, you know, just fighting it, and when realized what it, you know, I seeked help, and my days are normal. My days been normal ever since. I didn't have those highs and lows every day. You know, I didn't know what day how I was going to be from day to day, or no, not even day to day, like from one minute to another. You know, and how to accept it. And because if I had known this a lot earlier, like you said, I would have gotten better. I've been helped better, but I didn't know. Okay, and with the workload I had as an automobile dealer in my early years, the anxiety, the pressure, the wanting to be the best and wanting to survive, and it just want, you know, my goals was high, and I just wanted to be that person that want to achieve so much, and it put a lot of pressure on myself and caused that mental illness to escalate
Mm-hmm.
because not enough oxygen was getting to my brain. What we call that? But so um, and it I was so tired of going having hot days and cold days. I didn't know where I was going to be the next day. You know, I didn't know how to accept answers, or I was furious about things and I would snap. But I didn't realize that I did wasn't sleeping. I would sleep maybe an hour and a half, wake up just like I've been sleeping for 8 hours, but I never slept. So I understand, and I'm just want to say this because I heard you say it, that this is some of the reason why we try to help others. Because my prayer to God, when the Lord healed me or found a way to heal me, that I will try to do. And how can I say this? I want to be a blessing to someone else, so I can be able to help
Mm-hmm.
someone else that have this type of mental illness. And right now, we talked about it on the Sunday show, um, and on the Sunday show, we talked about uh, children having mental illness, illness, and why they're reacting the way they're acting in school is because we've gone through some trauma in these last 2 years.
A little
Uh,
bit.
all right, you know, and it all started. Yeah, it all started this week. Let everybody see who's doing all the talking here. Okay, okay. You know, these last 2 years have been it's been a drama. It's been trauma. It's been
As an
uh,
adult, it's been extremely difficult to deal with. I couldn't imagine being a child.
yes, you
Right.
know, right, and we our lifestyle changed. We was at first we was in the house. We couldn't go nowhere for a month, and we were seeing each other every day. And
Everybody's
then
faces are covered, and you
right,
can't
you
tell
know,
what they're thinking, or you get a lot of facial expressions, and we weren't able to do that for a very long time.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So our lifestyle changed, and after our lifestyle changed, uh, the things change, when we was able to go outside, go back outside. So, people among each other, on top of each other, don't know how they're going to pay their bills and how they're going to eat and um, how, if they're going to have a job when they get back, or how are we going to make it? How are our finances and how it's so much balled up what we've gone through in the last 2 years. I mean, a parent is going through it. They're having mental
Mhm.
issues, and so you
Yeah,
imagine a child is going through it too because hey, they don't know how to react to nothing because
yeah,
you
Mhm.
and
know
that's kind of what I was asking the chief because he said it was more like a 1% of kids that had issues like as far as mental
hmm
in school, and I find that hard to believe.
So do I.
Me
I
too.
don't know if that's what you think, but one
Behavioral
percent
health
is.
is influenced by mental health, I would think.
Yeah, but do you think it's a difference between the mental health and maybe chemical imbalances
it could
in
be
the
chemical
brain and
imbalance.
things like
Well,
that?
Yeah.
Chemical
most
imbalance is
mental
a lot.
disorders are
Yeah,
chemical
that's what this is
imbalances.
all right.
Yeah. They
Hmm.
Because I
all.
was
Yeah.
chemical imbalance. I was
Yeah,
imbalanced.
Exactly.
I
me
was
too.
imbalanced. On you couldn't line me up for nothing.
And a lot of, when kids
Right.
lash out and they misbehave, it usually comes off as angry, and anger is fear manifested.
and
Yes.
So,
let's not leave the parents out because the parents are not doing what they're supposed to do as well at home.
how are
Uh,
the parents, and I agree with you, but the parents who aren't getting help for themselves, how are they going to help the children?
that's true too.
I mean, if
Well,
they don't know what
What
they're doing.
what a coach tell us about it.
I'm gonna hold them to a high standard. I'm sorry, but
Yes, absolutely.
I can sympathize with them with that. But I'm gonna throw myself out there. Like my house is not peachy keen, but I know that I gotta take care of me. And if that means that Mama gotta leave and Mama gotta remove herself from this room, from this house, you get out of here right now.
If you don't take
So,
care of yourself, how are you going to take care
right,
of other people?
I'm not gonna. Yes, those
Yep.
people depend on me.
Right.
Absolutely. You have to be in tune. As much as I know I'm not one that really wants to be, I love my children, but I don't want to be with them 24/7.
Right.
No.
And they're not they're not bad kids, but that's just, and I never have been like that. So I know that, like we've seen some of the reports of child abuse increase and things like that, and that everybody's not that person. Everybody has their boiling point, but as adults, we are responsible for recognizing, okay, I need a time out and still be able to be in tune with what's going on with your child.
hmm I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree. That's why I said the parents need to take care of their business.
yeah.
I'm not an expert at that, but that's why I have you here. So tell us, tell us, where are we with this movement?
So I feel like we're at the very beginning.
Okay.
In this area, I have been worked with some parents that have seen, and majority of them, they have brought their children to me or reached out to me to talk to them because they were struggling with some depression, anxiety related to grief. I've even had some parents reach out to me that children had a diagnosis of autism, and because may not know, but basically when they get to the adolescence age, going toward teen, they really don't know what to do with them because they're acting out as well. And so, with both of those children and those parents, in particular, I seen a great increase in the last child I worked with. It really was grief related. And what I'm noticing is that, like always, I tell people now that we need to be teaching emotional intelligence in the schools.
Yes.
So we went from the little boy that came and talked to me that was experiencing grief from losing a parent. We all know that it's hard, and so a child trying to deal with this, and then the parent died related to COVID, and it
Oh,
was under the
goodness.
circumstances where I couldn't tell my daddy bye, all of that. Y'all, daddy's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
So we went from this child when they first came to me, he was, really closed and guarded. But by the time he left, he had opened up, warmed up, and the mom called me like halfway through the treatment, and she was like, she was bawling. She was like, I can't believe it. She was like, he's actually outside playing with other children. He had withdrew from playing with other children, and she was like, I mean, like interactively playing, like he's letting them use his toys. So the main thing that I did with him is provided, because he was super, super smart. And that's what you're going to see too. These kids are too smart for their own good, and they got all this stuff trapped in their head. But I provided him with the words and ways to express what he was feeling. Like, and let him know it was really, really, really important for me to let him know that it was okay to feel that way, and not to be concerned with what mom has going on as well. And she was there, because I talked to them separately, and then I bring them together as well. But just from us talking and him doing some of my other therapies, that really did, we seen a great increase in this child. Teachers reported by the time we were done, he was actually not getting in trouble in school anymore, because he was having an issue at school, but we couldn't get to the bottom of it because he was just acting out. But after he got to trust me a little bit, and I provided him some techniques to express that anger, express that sadness, and let him know that it was okay, then we got to the bottom of what was really going on in school and why we was acting out. And then I could help we both between, because I use the parents a lot, because my goal is to teach you what you need so that you can use these tools going forward, and you come back if you need to, but equipping you with things that you can use at home. But between me and mom, we were able to get him to tell us, what was really upsetting him and going on. And it was something easy. And he didn't know how to fix it. And because the teachers, they have a lot of kids in the room and they stress themselves. God bless them. I can't imagine. She wasn't picking up on some of the things that were going on in the classroom. So just providing him with the tools to express it and get that out, that was amazing. And I really just kicked it up a notch when I started seeing that. And it touched my heart also when the young man that had a diagnosis of autism, when he came, because his mom had to go pick him up from school just about every day because he was going to the nurse and he was pretending to be sick. And back in the beginning of COVID, all you had to do is look like you wanted to sneeze, and they're gonna call your parents, tell them to come get you. So that's what he was doing. But really, what it was is that he was a little bit older and having some difficulties expressing how he was feeling about the way they were treating him, because his body's going through changes. In middle school, they're not treating you like a child anymore, and he didn't know how to express it, and it was different. But when I seen him progress, and she reported back as well, I was like, wow, okay. And the last thing that I did was speak at a school. And we all remember being in school when they brought speakers in. And I know I was one, but like, oh goodness, can they hurry up, sleepy, But the fact that the children were engaged, this was middle schoolers, and so they were ears up, eyes perked. They were responding back, because I talk in a way to where I'll ask questions, but I'm not really expecting them to answer me. But if they do, that's great. They answered every question. So I told the administrators before I left, I said, these are the topics that you need to be talking about with these children, because the fact that they are engaged tells me that they are experienced this and they are paying attention and they need help.
But do you find that, I think that a lot of times, and I saw this when my kids were coming through school, a lot of times mental health is confused with autism or ADHD. Children are being diagnosed, and it's just not true.
I agree with that as well, because like you said, if something is not right, like if they're anxious, if anything's going on, something as simple as anxiety, a lot of times the only thing they know how to do is to act out, and it's going to come out in anger, and they're going to be out their seat doing all them other kind of things.
I've had generalized,
right.
I've had it for a very long time, and it wasn't until not that long ago that I realized how to act. And I'm an adult. Like, it takes, you got to have the right tools, and you have to know what to do. It's kind of like any other illness that you have, like diabetes. You have to have the tools to take care of it in order to take care of it.
That's funny that you said that, because that's one of the things that I recommend. Like when we're talking to them, we need to use analogies. And our children are very smart. So when
Hmm.
you're talking to them about mental health, talk to them and reference back to like a disease they understand, like diabetes. Most of them understand that because unfortunately they probably have a parent, a cousin, a grandmother, or somebody that have sugar and have to take that insulin shot, or you have to help her stick her finger or something like that.
Yeah.
And blood pressure as well. So just related to that, to like, I even have to use that with adults because we don't understand that,
Yeah.
especially if we have to take medicines.
And that anxiety will tear you up too. Like it's taxing on the body to have a panic
Mhm.
attack. And then you fear the next one. And before it even happens, you're in fear of it. So when you're a
Mhm.
kid, imagine that all in one. It's a bit much.
Right.
How long do your sessions normally last, and what's covered the most when you have your sessions?
So the sessions are most at least an hour. And what I do is I listen for the most part and asking those questions that most people don't know to ask, to provide them, especially kids, an opportunity to talk about that issue because they're not gonna bring it up. Um, and then I'll share. That's kind of the system that I use, is I'm getting that trust factor. And once I have that trust factor in like the first session, it may seem like nothing is actually going on, but I'm getting to know them. I'm trying to form a bond and reassure them and try to see where they are. Maybe they need more help than what I can provide, and so I have a team of people that I can refer them over to. And but the first session is usually just bonding, getting to know them, reassuring them, letting them know what they're going through is okay, and that we're going to fix it. We're going to work together and come up with a plan. Later on, then I'll provide them with some coping skills and then teach them how to use them and then get feedback. Sometimes I give homework as well, because I want to know like what you were feeling in that moment. Usually kids can remember, but adults we don't remember, so we have to write it down. But but that's usually how I operate, and I not just play it by ear. As far as when I'm like, okay, I'll keep them for at least 6 weeks because I feel like that's a good gives me a good idea of where they're at. And in that time, if I don't see any progress whatsoever, okay, I'm gonna be upfront with you, because at the end of the day, I want to see you get help. It's it's not about money. The money will come, but I want to see you get help. So I'll pass you off and be like, okay, I don't think that this is what they're needing. It usually won't take me that long to pick up on that. It won't at all. But I'll pass them on to the next person or make a recommendation for them to go see some of the people on my list for medication and stuff like that.
Once you like it's a seem like it's a stigma in the black community for kids and even parents to get help. And
Hmm.
once they do come, and what are the most reasons you find out why they didn't come in the first place?
A lot of them will say, what will they? Some of them will say, I didn't know what to do, or they'll say, I thought I could handle it on my own. Or especially with grief, because most of the people that reach out to me are struggling with grief, depression, and anxiety, because those are like the three areas that I really specialize in, professionally and personally. So I speak about it a lot. But usually that's what they come from. They'll be like, well, I thought it was going to get better, but they're at that point to where it's bothering them or hurting them. I call it the pain point. They're hurting enough to where they realize something's got to give.
I know that when I was in the depths of struggling with my mental illness, I felt like people would think that I was crazy or that I was of weak mind. And if it had been my child, I would have felt like, I somehow failed as a parent, and that would have stopped me from getting help. And are there resources available for parents who don't know what to do? Like they want to do something, but they just don't know. And are there early warning signs before the child is in all kinds of trouble and, we
Hmm.
get that far? Are there things that parents can look for that will help?
Yes, if you notice that your child has been one that's really sociable, they'll come out and talk with the family and stuff, and all of a sudden they're just staying in the room. a lot of times we'll dismiss that and be like, oh, they're just being a teenager, they're just being a kid. No, go in there and see what's going on. Or when they are down, will they not talk to you? Are they wearing their hair kind of like in their face? The mask, my child in
Mhm.
particular did that. The mask provides them, like some of those that are struggling with depression, the mask provides them an actual mask that they can hide behind.
Uh-huh.
Um, Pick up on, are they oversleeping? Are they not interested in things that they normally would be interested in? Like, do friends not call or come over anymore? If you mention something, like if you say, okay, you want to go see such and such, being that we now that we can actually go out and do things, and like, no, I'm good. You'll just notice like a withdrawal, something that it really boils down to you knowing your child and knowing their habits.
Hmm.
And your little ears, it may not pick up the first time they do it, but the second or third time, you're gonna be like, wait a minute, what's going on? But pay attention to little things like that, and then talking with the teachers, seeing how they're acting in the classroom. I did it and
Hmm.
found out that when one of my children was struggling, thank God for the teachers that he had. She would tell me that he would wear the mask on his face, had his hair in his face, and sit down, slump down in the chair, and stuff. And then when somebody would speak to him, like he would barely speak back. I'm like, what? you know. But come to find out, he was struggling.
Do y'all offer parents tools to go by once they finish y'all session in order
Yes,
to keep it going?
absolutely, and I follow up with everybody. When I feel like we're done, the door is still open, and I tell them, like I'm not gonna send you an invoice if you want to contact me and be like, hey, I need help. Do you think, I'm really honest about that. And when the parents come, I'll give you tools from the beginning. And when we first talk, like anybody that's watching this, if you go to the National Suicide Hotline's website, they have all kind of tools and jewels on there to teach you how to talk to someone about suicide, depression, anxiety. And just one thing I really like to silence is that talking about suicide does not put that thought in someone's head. That if that thought is in their head, it
They're
got
gonna
there a
do it.
long time ago.
Yep.
Yep.
You did
Usually
not
people
do
that's
it.
usually people that's gonna do something to themselves, they don't really talk to people about it. They just do
Mm-mm.
it.
Right.
And people that talk
Mm-hmm.
about it really need help and are
Yeah, they
seeking help.
they want the help.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I know, like, I frown upon people when they pick on folks, and they get on Facebook and they be like, man, you need to get a diary. Well, I'm glad that they said something so we can get them some help. I've helped more people in my personal life, getting the crisis team out there to them through Facebook or something like that than I have in professional. And we were able to get them because of something they posted, and I was able to contact the crisis team, talk to them, and then be that bridge, because I said we have a gap in healthcare, and that's what really my mission is to close that gap, because I've seen firsthand, as even being in the mental health field, how it's easy for someone to fall through those cracks. It's hard to get folks help when it gets to that.
I'm talking and my mic is closed. I want
I
to.
just thought it was me. I was like, what's going
No,
on?
that's me. Yeah. Killer Lazar and asked what type of experience the panelists, well, I guess he's the one who said the guest has.
Yeah.
So can you, because this is very important, when we're talking about mental health and what your experience and what you have to do to help others. Some folks wants to know what your experience, what's your background.
Okay, well, I have been a mental health nurse for 11 years. I've worked in the community with the state, and recently I just resigned from the Veteran Affairs. So I actually launched my own coaching practice where I kind
Hmm.
of coach and counsel, and then I teamed up with nurse practitioners, counselors, and doctors, as I made friends with them. And so I have people behind me with this movement. But so I took my triaging from the clinic to the streets. So that's what I
Yes.
do.
Oh, great, great. Now, why is this? I mean, we know the movement that you're heading. And so my next question is going to be, why is this all important?
It's important because we need to save lives, and we can save the lives.
Yes, we
I mean,
can.
like the beauty queens and stuff like that that we have just recently seen. The last one they did rule hers as a suicide as well. I'm seeing so many people that are committing suicide that we really could have reached. We really could
Hmm.
have got to the bottom of it. And if you have been in that field personally or professionally, you know, some we're gonna lose some people. We're gonna do that. But I'm seeing more people do it that we actually can reach.
Hmm. You know, I'm glad we're having this conversation, this dialogue. I love it. Because,
Yeah, I do
yeah,
too.
it's a great dialogue because people are just that's going through what we've gone through, and mental health and depression and suppression and everything else they're going through, anxiety. Is that there is help? There's help
Hmm.
out there,
There is.
and we can seek that help if we just just put an effort to just help, just to guide them in the right directions. So how easy is the access of to for this information?
So it's as simple as a text message. If you or someone you know is experiencing thoughts of harming yourself or someone else, you can text home to 741-741, and there are counselors, volunteers that are there to correspond back with you. And just because you text or reach out to them, the people, the goons are not going to come and kick in your door,
Right.
but they really want you to text so that we can, talk these people down, get them into, if they need to go to the hospital, go to the hospital. If they just need to get set up with a counselor, get them with a counselor. But getting the help to you, and I really reference the home one because that's the easiest one to remember.
You said
Home
home
seven
seven.
four one, yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
741.
Right.
Sorry, home to 741-741.
Did I get that right?
Oh, are you
Let's
putting
see.
it in here too?
Oh, you're doing it. Let's see. Let's see. You say home, HOME,
Mm-hmm.
741
Seven four one.
741.
Are you putting it in the
Mm-hmm.
comments or on the page?
I'm putting it on the page.
I'm putting it on the comments.
All right, there we go. I'm gonna put it on the page. Let's see. That's it.
That's it.
All right. Now this number is to for whom?
That is actually to the suicide hotline.
Suicide hotline. This
And I know it sounds scary to say the National Suicide Hotline, but they also have people that answer those text messages, like if you're heading down that road. So don't wait until you're at your wit's end and you're ready to go through with it. If you're having
uh,
the thoughts, you can text them.
you can text me at that number. Home
Hmm.
7741741. Okay, got that. You can text that number home 741-741. That is awesome. I am so glad to have you here. Just to explain to us about some of the things that we like. And this is life.
Right.
And you don't have to be born with it. You don't have to inherit it. It'll happen. And as simple as therapy, um, medication, and you're on the road to move on with your life. And that's what I've
Hmm.
I've experienced. I once I take one a day, and I'll tell you what do I do. I take Lexapro. I take I take one Lexapro a day.
Yeah.
Get up in the morning with it. Boom. That's first. That's first thing I do.
Hmm.
And I'm living better. I'm sleeping better. I'm resting better. I feel better.
Hmm.
I'm not having a hot day or hot cold day, or I'm not down, I'm not fluctuating. I'm moving just like that, just smooth
Hmm.
across the board. And I've been like this now for the last 10 years.
That's
So
awesome.
just imagine, and let me tell you this, and I'm not shy to say talk about it, but it was time when I knew that I was in one of those real deep depressed time, and I didn't know how I was going to react to anything. I stayed in. I would stay in and
Yes.
close in the room and don't even come out for days
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
until I was able to come out of it, and I'm okay.
For some
But
people, that solitude becomes addictive almost, because you feel
Yep.
better when you're alone and you're not blowing up on people, so you just stay that way.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would blow up on you in a heartbeat. I mean,
Me too.
I mean, I would jump. Oh, you better not say nothing crazy to me. I'll bust you. I just jump you. And my
Right.
tongue was
Right.
sharp. I was just.
Don't
Uh,
even look at me like that.
and then after
Right.
I do it, I think about it. I said, now why did I do that? That was very hurtful. You
Yep. And
know,
then it comes, the guilt and the grief, and you're like,
right?
oh,
Yeah.
And then we act like nothing happened. We've done anything to anybody. Okay, like life's supposed to go on after we get right. You laugh. You know it's true, huh?
Yeah, I know that firsthand. So I'm only like what? I'm only probably my dad died about 3. Yeah, I'm only about 3 years in
Yes.
I've been was stuck in that state for the majority of my life. And the most beautiful thing was after I got on the medication and got into therapy was the one day. I think it takes about, y'all be patient if you get diagnosed with depression, it takes a while for the medication to start working.
Right.
So after they found the right medication and I was on it for about what, 3 months. I came to work one day and I was just like, I felt like I was missing something, like I left something, like I
Mm-hmm.
lost it. And then I looked and I realized I was like, this is the first time that I can remember, and I don't know how long, that I was not anxious. And now I think about some of the comments that people would say to me in at work. They would be like, they would come to me with all these extreme things going on. I just be like, okay, we're gonna do this, 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 and this. And they was like, did you work in the ER? I'm like, mm-mm. And I realize now because I was stuck in an anxious spot. So
Right.
there was
yep.
Right.
nowhere for me to go. I was not
Right.
Me
functioning,
too. And
Right.
it
you
was crazy
know?
because if I'm the calm one, there's a problem.
Right,
Right. Right.
So then I was
Man.
the calm
right.
one, and I was like, oh, this is so much better.
And you know what was so
Hmm.
funny? It's not funny today now, but I think about before then, before I had recover and all that good stuff, and they found out what was wrong with me, and I got my life in order. I was still in business. I was still grinding day to day and day and night, and I didn't sleep because I was up grinding in my mind.
Hmm.
Even when I was
Yep.
supposed to be asleep, I'm grinding in my mind. I'm thinking about things that I need to do for today, tomorrow, the next day, next week. I just couldn't shut down.
Yep,
I struggle with that now. I
that's
have a hard
me.
time shutting down.
I have a
Hmm.
hard time shutting down. Folks say, "Well, what do you do now?" Well, I I I have a hard time shutting down from a day because of my activity, my work activity, and my businesses. And when I get in, how I unwind is that I read and write.
Yes.
So I
Yep.
write. I have a crazy humor, a sense of humor. So I write a
Yes.
lot of memes and a lot of stories and jokes, but that's what I unwind at night, and it's helped me something to do. I'm saying I'm not as stressful. I'm laughing to myself about things that comes to my mind and my head that I write and I read, and so that's for to say
Yes.
you go on my profile page, you'll say, "Boy, this guy here is crazy," but
I do
Yes.
it too.
it's
I've got
just
Yep.
the family tree thing going on, but the thing about the family tree is that when you start investigating, you're not shutting down.
right,
I'm
right.
relaxed,
No.
but I'm not shutting down.
Right. I just
Hmm.
it's hard for us to do that, and I look at my parents, and on my dad on his side of the family, they had this issue, but they were the older generation that didn't
Mhm.
believe in getting help.
Yep.
Okay, and they I saw them in action. I saw them every day and how they would react to things and how they would get along with each other, how they would talk, and then the next time they act like they just love each other, and it was just so unbalanced because they all suffer with this illness,
Hmm.
and but they didn't know they had this illness because they didn't believe in going sit down on the sofa or talk to a psychiatrist or a
Yep.
therapist or anybody that can help them because
Yep.
they were afraid somebody would say, "Oh, that whole family's crazy." Yeah,
Yep.
but I laugh and play about it and talk about it because everyone, they say, "Well, everybody in your family are diabetics or has diabetes or had diabetes, except you." I said, you know, that's right. I'm the only one that didn't have diabetes, but I caught that other stuff from him.
That's where I'm
Right.
at. Just own it.
Yeah, that is so.
It's funny that you say that you mentioned that. It's because I see the same thing with my family on both sides. Sorry, y'all, but I see a heavy presence of alcohol, and like
Right.
that was the tool that they chose to use. And like you said, that they don't want people to be like, "Oh, that family's crazy." Well, they saying it anyway because y'all drunk. How do you get to the point to where you don't remember where you at? You that
Yeah,
drunk.
Yeah,
but
What
that
are you running
that's
away
yeah,
from?
right,
What
and
are you,
exactly.
that
what are you trying to? And a lot of times that's what it is.
yeah,
Yes,
that's
you're
what
trying
it
to
And
numb
is.
it. You're trying to
yes,
numb
trying
all
to
the
numb
pain. You
that
don't want to deal with
pain.
it. You don't
Right.
have the ability to cope. You don't have the skills to cope with what's going on. So you
Right.
go to
Mhm.
other things to do it for you. And the majority of people choose drugs and alcohol. I
Mhm.
dealt with the mental health and I still do, but I found that I didn't even break ground on becoming better until I found the tools needed to know what to do.
Right. And once you get the
Right.
tools that you need, then everything's going to work out. But you got to know and commit that you are
Yes.
and you do have this problem.
Yes.
That's the key. That's just like an alcoholic. He's not going to say he's an alcoholic. You know, he's not going to go to AAA until
Mhm.
he thinks, well, I'm one. You know, you just can't say you need to go to AAA. And if they're not ready, it's not
Yep.
helping. It's not going to help them.
Yep.
Mhm.
So well, I got that out of the way. Okay. And I tell you what, I mean, uh, uh, how the work of, tell me about the MT therapeutic
Therapeutic.
fits
Yeah.
in the picture.
So MT Therapeutics is my way of giving back to my community, and I do have some virtual options as well. And so that's what I provide. I stumbled upon this great thing called CES therapy that works for anxiety, pain, insomnia, and depression. And actually, what it is an old army technique. It is a device that you use that is non-invasive. So I allow people to come in and try it. It worked wonders. In addition to my medication, that's what I use to control my anxiety. So I provide that and coaching and whatever else that I come across. MT Therapeutics will continue to put out things that are going to be able to give back to the community. As my target audience are people like me and you. Like, they have care out there, but there isn't enough. And there isn't enough of the newer things that actually work.
Um, Coach, Knowledge is Power podcast has a members only page on Facebook, and
Hmm.
um, it's for local for us in this community here that you can post those things on there for us and for you, so we can connect to the people that needs it in our community. If you don't
Yes.
mind, just go to that page, Knowledge is Power podcast on Facebook, and it says
Okay.
members only. That's the page that we post all our local events, local everything that's going on that we need to know, information that we need to know in this community. That's where you go and post those articles of what information that we need about mental health and just anything that we need
Hmm.
help with. That's that page to go to and post that there to you for us all. Okay. And we
Okay.
also have a Knowledge is Power podcast Facebook page called Black Culture Page of 365. This is more related to education of history, Black African American history. And we have that going on. And we're going to have another page coming pretty soon on some other things that we got going on. But we thank you again. We thank you so much, Coach MT, for being our guest. And I hope it touched someone, it helped someone, it can connect with you. Is
Hmm.
that a number or a way of connecting with you? And I have one more question before you tell us
Okay.
all that information is that how, one more time, how can we talk to our children about mental health, especially those
Sure,
in the
sure.
schools? Yes.
So how can we talk to our children is we can just be as matter of factly as you can, bringing out, asking them, are you experiencing any anxiety? Then defining the term and relating it to something that they really can relate to, like the heaviness in the chest. Do you feel nervous? Do you feel like something's bad is about to happen? And reassuring them and letting them know that it's okay to have those feelings and encouraging them to reach out. A great tool to use is regular disorders that some of us have, like blood pressure and diabetes. Relate the terms back to that, because most of our children are educated on that and they can understand that. I use that with adults as well, but reassuring them that mental health is just as important as physical health. And while if you figure out or stumble upon that they're having some trouble with some of these things, start this early because we started it late. Encourage them to practice self-care, and self-care can be as simple as exercise, taking time to medicate, and journaling. Encourage them to journal.
Thank you, Coach MT. I'm not gonna try to say your name, okay? I
Okay.
chop that name all up.
Yes,
But we
and you
thank you,
can. No, thank
Megan. Yeah,
you. And
thank
you
you
can
so
reach
much.
me at
Yes.
what did you say? 409-235-1400 or mttherapeutics.com.
All right. I enjoyed your talk, and
So
we're
did
gonna
I.
keep
Thank
it
you.
on, and we're gonna
Thank
share it.
you.
And I want those who are watching or listening to share this podcast. This is a great listening to. It's something that we need to know about and be aware of. Thank you
Absolutely.
again. We love
Thank
it,
you.
and we'll be back on Sunday. Knowledge is Power will be back on Sunday at 7 o'clock with another guest. Thank you so much, babe.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. Be sure to like and subscribe to all Knowledge is Power social media pages.